All right, all right, all right, all right. You know. Yo, what's up? It's Gabe, just Gabe. You don't see Xavier here. You don't see Max here. And that's because the budget allows me to get my own show. That's right, my sports podcast I do. Now, like once a week or so, I'll be doing it here on Shameless Plug. This is dope. I'm excited. I hope you guys stick around for this. And with me today, I have my good friend Jacob, Michigan State student.
Yep.
Give a round of applause for Jacob. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good so far.
That's good. First of all, thank you for being here. First guest I've ever had. Obviously, first episode, inaugural episode and everything.
Excited.
So I do want to ask you, obviously MSU is a pretty big sports school, specifically basketball and even football when they're good, but in the grand scheme of, maybe not compared to Michigan for football, but in the grand scheme of colleges, it's a big sports school. What was it like? Because you did stay in East Lansing during this year, despite most students not. What was it like being there during all this? Was it just like a regular day?
So for the most part, for football season, there was like nothing going on.
Right.
If I'm being honest, like there was, it was just very limited on like the things that you could do. I'd say the only time it was actually like, I don't know, excitable to go outside was when State beat Michigan.
Of course.
Which is like, it's kind of understandable. But like by go outside, I mean that we literally like walked from our apartment just through downtown. Like we were literally just like, like excited with other people. But it wasn't like, it was like people like in passing. It wasn't anything like big. There was no big like, I mean, they did.
I saw people burn some
shit, which is like typical Cedar Village stuff. But, besides that, it was pretty just, it was weird. I'll say that because, usually I've been to a couple Spartans games.
Mm-hmm.
And so after going to those and like the crowd leaving, everything, like the crowd cheering and stuff.
Right.
It's a lot different having to just kind of have like your four buddies just cheer,
sitting in the house watching the game.
Like, as opposed to being at the game, being excited and stuff. So it was different, but, I don't know. I thought it was pretty fun still.
Yeah. That is one of the things I have wondered. Obviously my school just isn't a sports school. Even in the grand scheme of small HBCUs, we're not even a sports school by that metric. But that is one thing I have just wondered is just like, what is it like? Some schools is obviously going to be different. If you talk to a student at Georgia, it's going to be closer to being normal. They're having fans there.
Same thing with like Alabama. Alabama.
Southern schools in general.
Yeah, just most of those. I mean, I guess you could say Notre Dame too, which is like
because only students can and that
only students for the most.
That
part.
was the most normal any sporting event has felt in a long time. The end of that game,
right?
And then when A&M played Florida, because A&M had like 70% of that stadium full for that game, and I remember Florida coach was mad.
Well, that's why all like these bowl games are being played in Texas. All the big bowl
move
games,
the Rose Bowl,
Oh, that's why they're all being played like Texas, Florida, anywhere down south because they're able to have all these fans and everything. Like you saw the Alabama Notre Dame game, tons of people there because it was at AT&T Stadium,
right? And then the Clemson Ohio State game, it was only fans allowed because the city of New Orleans isn't allowing spectators. The Saints were actually supposed to play at Tiger Stadium. I don't know what they are for the playoffs. I don't think so. But they were going to play in Baton Rouge because the mayor of New Orleans wasn't allowing it, but the city of Baton Rouge would allow them to play with fans. But whatever, that's here nor there. I was going to wait to do this, but while we're on this topic, obviously New Year's just passed, which means bowl games just passed. I know you watched a good amount from texting you.
Yeah.
Alabama beat Notre Dame. Ohio State beat Clemson. The Alabama-Notre Dame game, it's not really much to say. I do want to give Notre Dame credit.
Right.
That's as good as it's really going to get for Notre Dame. There's just a peak. There's a limit for how good that program can be.
Which I agree with. I think that they kind of capped out when they beat Clemson earlier this year.
Yeah.
But a lot of people tend to forget that they were missing
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
I think Nolan Turner.
Kind of a big name. They were missing, although he got ejected in like the most previous game, they were missing their captain and their best linebacker.
Oh, he did just get ejected.
Tyler Skalski,
something
like that. But don't get me wrong, I don't think the targeting call should have been called.
I don't either. But I don't feel bad.
I don't feel bad, but he's a big defensive force for Clemson in that sense.
So he's great.
I think missing two of their star players, one on each side of the ball, kind of played a big role. And outside of the fact that they lost in overtime or something like that by overtime. 3 touchdown, something like that.
I will say, Trevor Lawrence alone, I still think Notre Dame wins that game, and the reason is DJ couldn't have played pretty much any better.
Oh yeah,
it's scary. Just looking towards the future for them.
Yeah, I think so.
Like he's probably going to win a Heisman. He's going to be a top 5 NFL draft pick. It all just seems. I mean, anyway. Getting off that though, I do want to talk. So yeah, credit to Notre Dame. It was a great season. Your first time in the ACC. Right. You held your own. You had a great win against Clemson. You had a great win against North Carolina. A very good North Carolina team.
On top of the fact that they were kind of forced into a division too.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like
due to the circumstances.
Basically like with Notre Dame, you want to pick a high level of football, but I don't think they'd last in the SEC. If I'm being honest, I don't think the entire SEC is something that's super good at football. I think they're all physical teams. I don't think they're all talented, though, is what I'm saying. I think that, like, if you look at it, like the Tennessee,
the thing about Tennessee is not now, but when they were really bad a few years ago, they were like really talented. Like they had Kamara and they didn't use them. They've had all these players and don't because Tennessee. Because of where it is and because of the history of the program, they're going to be able to recruit.
Right.
To what level depends on how good they are. But they've had top 5 classes. But due to circumstances.
It's just things that, like, you see, like, a ton of good players on, like, Ole Miss, Tennessee. Right. Like, you got DK Metcalf.
Right. And
so
AJ
you look
Brown.
at that, and, like, Notre Dame has some really good players, but they're not built physically to compete with teams like SEC teams.
The issue with
Alabama, like, they're not built to compete with teams like Alabama because you look at Alabama, they're all 6'7", 6'8", 250-pound freshmen.
Well, Notre Dame's is huge. I will say Notre Dame's defense is probably the biggest defense I've ever seen. The issue with Notre Dame is, do you watch the game?
Yeah.
The issue with Notre Dame, and it was the issue all year, is they don't have perimeter talent. They have great tight ends, which is what they usually is Clemson.
They have 6 tight ends.
Kyron Williams is a great running back. Ian Book's a good quarterback. They don't have good receivers. The receivers are big.
Right.
And they're slow. And Alabama's game plan, which was a good game plan, was play them straight up one-on-one man coverage.
Right.
And obviously, Alabama has one corner in Patrick Surtain who you're just not going to throw at. I don't think Ohio State's going to throw at him very much either. And so that takes away one guy basically off the field. And, I mean, they just were able to basically run coverage. But I do want to ignore that. Justin Fields.
That was an exciting.
That was impressive.
Yeah,
that was impressive. Probably earned a couple million. I think everything was trending down. It seemed like he was going to be the 3rd quarterback taken.
Who would you have taken over him outside of Trevor Lawrence?
The logic was Wilson was going to go over him.
Okay.
And would I take Wilson over him? I watched Zach Wilson play a few games. Maybe I think Fields. I don't know.
Personally, I think Fields is more talented.
I do too, but he has bad habits.
I think Fields has bad habits. But at the same time, it's kind of crazy the fact that like they only had 6 games this year, so it's not like they had practice, but they had so many problems in that Ohio State program with COVID that it was tough for them to kind of figure out. And so I think the lack of experience in terms of like playing this season kind of caused Fields to continue to have some of these problems.
I think it was that. And I think the lack of games. I feel like he tries to do too much. He does have legit like things that are concerns.
He has raw talent. Like, ridiculous.
And so
athleticism.
Fields is a better talent than Wilson. I think Wilson might be more NFL ready. And really, to me, it just came down to what team. For the Jets, I would think Zach Wilson might be better with the Jets. For the Falcons, I actually think because Matt Ryan can still play another year or two. I think Fields can benefit from a year off. But it looks like he's going to be quarterback of the Jets. Trevor Lawrence is going to be quarterback of the Jaguars, who just hired Urban Meyer, it appears.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't think it was official yet. But you saw that thing that he wanted $12 million to come out of retirement?
Yeah.
That's what he was asking for.
The Jaguars owner is like one of the richest owners in sports. Khan.
We'll see if they give it to him.
Khan,
it's the dude with the mustache, right?
Yeah, the Indian guy, yeah. Anyway, shout out to Ohio State. They shut everybody up, including Dabo Swinney, the 11th ranked team according to him.
As a Michigan State student, I'm not a fan of Ohio State, but
I hate them more than you do.
My hatred for Ohio State compared to my hatred for Dabo Swinney is not comparable. Like I hate Dabo Swinney as a person, as a coach.
I'm starting to as
one of the biggest scumbags in college football, college sports in general. Like
I've heard some things about Dabo in Clemson.
I don't know. I don't understand why all these students keep continuously giving him their talent to play for and stuff. I mean, like, obviously, he's built some NFL players.
That's the
like
logic.
DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson, Sammy
of course.
Watkins.
Clemson is an NFL factory. You know,
it's
certain schools you go to, you know. Right. But at the same time,
it's just frustrating because it's Dabo Swinney himself.
He's a good recruiter.
Me off.
I think the thing Clemson does really well, and this was the big talking point when they beat Alabama 2 years ago with Lawrence.
Right.
The big talking point of what they do well is their coaches don't leave. You saw LSU, like, you know, I really like LSU. Everybody left outside of just the players. Joe Brady left. You know, defensive coordinator leaves. Everybody's assistants leave. Everybody's gone. Right. Clemson, Venables has been there forever. He could easily leave. Venables could have got that Texas job that Sarkisian just took. He could have got a USC job. He could have went anywhere. But Venables wants to be there. You know, their offensive coordinator, who they didn't have for that game, he wants to be there. So I think that's really the talking point with Clemson. But I do want to get off college football in a second. But Alabama, Ohio State, Alabama's between a 7 or an 8 point favorite, depending on where you look, as I've been checking. I think that's about fair. I think I'm going to take Alabama 45-40 in this game. I think Ohio State's good. They're not great in the front seven. They're as good as anybody in the country. Defensive end, they're better in the front seven than they were last year, even though they had Chase Young. I think they're just more balanced all the way around. I mean, Chase Young is a generational college player, but they're more balanced. However, you see now, the entire front seven is better. However, they struggle in the back end. It will be interesting to see what they do because they only play with one safety.
I'd say a weak part of their game is defensive backs too.
Defensive backs.
Obviously,
Shaun Wade is good.
Well,
but he's a first round pick. But
yeah, but I'm trying to think of who it was last game. But Clemson's wide receiver just kept on cooking one of Ohio State's defensive backs. And a couple of plays it might have been Wade, and Wade's still obviously very good. But I'm just saying that
NFL talent.
If Trevor Lawrence, I don't know, got sacked like what 4 times that game, 5 times.
It was probably
maybe?
more than that. Like when he didn't get sacked, he had no
2
time.
Fumbles, like he had little to no time. And for Clemson's wide receiver to shake their defensive back almost every single play and like allow for some big plays down the field, like it was a little embarrassing. But I think that for someone like Mac Jones, who is honestly like underrated as a quarterback, like you look at him, like I saw a thing.
He was as good as
on
anybody
Twitter earlier, and it was like a video of him icing his arm after he threw for 500 plus yards against his number 1 defense,
right?
Like in a practice too,
right? Yeah.
This man, like, I think he's an underrated choice at quarterback.
I think he's a first round pick. Based on every mock I've seen,
I can definitely see why he was behind Tua and Jalen Hurts.
Oh, of
obviously.
course.
But because also I need to get into Jalen Hurts and Tua later because I think Jalen Hurts is going to be better. But
yeah, we can get to that in a minute.
Mac Jones, very underrated. Even though he's a Heisman finalist, I think he's super underrated when talking about top quarterbacks in college football right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take Alabama at 38-32. I'm going to say they
lower
don't
score
cover.
than lower.
I'm going to say they don't cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
A big thing
it's early, so we don't know what the final line will be. Because the line changes so much. The line changed like 10 minutes before the game last week. I say it'll be between 6 and 10. I think it'll be on. I think it'll stay in the.
It'll stay on Alabama's side for sure.
Oh no! But I'm saying like I think it'll stay a 1-score game.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what Trey Sermon we get.
That's
Trey Sermon of the regular season or the Trey Sermon of the last 2 weeks. I think we're somewhere in between. I don't think he's going to do what he did against Northwestern, but I don't think he's going to be bad either.
Well, you saw what they did against Clemson. Clemson had one of the top 5 ranked defenses or something like that, as opposed to they played like. And Trey Sermon, like after watching him, there was no way that they were bringing that man down. Like he played out of his mind the other day, and so I don't know if it's the confidence getting to him that he has this.
I think he's just getting used to it. I mean, you got to think this is first year there.
Yeah,
he was at
Oklahoma before that. Yeah,
and it clearly was some sort of like personal issue he had at Oklahoma, and is why he's gone. When I say the last 2 weeks, I'm not trying to disrespect him. 636 of his 868 yards over the last 3 games. So, I mean, that's the writing right there. We both agree Devontae should win Heisman. He will win Heisman tomorrow.
I'd say regardless of the fact that, I mean, we talked about this yesterday actually, that like his first year and a half at Alabama. He was kind of a non-factor, but he was also playing behind guys.
He was playing behind Ridley,
Judy, Ridley.
Riggs, I don't care.
Or Ruggs.
The fact that
there was another one, but
his second year he was good. I mean, he had the game-winning catch,
which is supposed to be, Heisman senior year, or not senior year, but Heisman, like your final year or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he deserves it by far. He's
by
broken
far.
records. Like, he had 3 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl itself. Like,
yeah, he could have had more. Like,
he by far could have had more. Like,
everybody's giving Notre Dame credit for covering. They had a garbage time touchdown. The only reason they covered, but they covered nonetheless. It was I think it was like a 20-something. I don't know what the spread was, but
I definitely didn't take it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Did you bet on it?
No. I wasn't going to because I didn't know how that. I knew it was going to be a blowout, but I didn't.
I didn't think Alabama didn't try to do too much. That was one of the best coach Nick Saban games I've ever seen. So we're both taking Alabama in this game.
Yeah, definitely Alabama.
I'm about to get to the NFL. Before we get to that, we have to talk about what happened last night. Oh. So if you don't know, the Eagles were playing last night. They played the
Washington football team.
I'm sorry. The Eagles win. The Eagles win. Giants get in the playoffs. Eagles lose. Washington gets in the playoffs. Pretty simple. 17-14 game. Doug Peterson decides to pull rookie Jalen Hurts and put in Nate Sudfeld. Not even Carson Wentz. Nate Sudfeld.
Not even start Sudfeld in the first place.
Not even start Sudfeld in the first place. To let him off easy. You put him in 17-14 at a random point in the game, and they lose the game. They basically tanked mid-game. I think that helped them I think they got 1 or 2 higher picks than they would have if they won the game. The Eagles were already eliminated from the playoffs. They were the only team going into this week that was eliminated from that division because the Cowboys won, and any of the other 3 teams could have gotten in. And obviously players are pissed. My thing is this. I don't have a problem with tanking. I don't have a problem with taking. If I was a player, I wouldn't intentionally play bad, especially in the NFL.
Right.
Nothing's guaranteed in the NFL.
If I'm
Sudfeld, I'm coming in there and trying my hardest. Nothing's guaranteed in the NFL. NBA, it's a little different. I don't like this. I don't like this. And I don't like the Giants players complaining because you won 6 games.
Yeah.
But I don't exactly like Peterson for doing this either.
I agree. So a big thing of what I saw was I think it was a tweet or a post from Logan Ryan saying how he was like, we can't really be upset. We won 6 games. Like,
right.
So that part I do understand.
Yeah.
Like Giants players. So I do understand both sides of it though, because the thing is that they only won 6 games, but like that's exactly the same situation that Washington was in. That they were at They're at 6-8 now, right?
Last night was their 7th.
Yeah, so last night was their 7th win. So basically,
they were tied. Yeah.
Yeah, and so what frustrates me is the fact Doug Peterson tried to explain himself after the game too, saying that Sudfeld earned minutes. So I don't understand how he earned minutes if you're down by 1 score in the first half still, maybe beginning of the second half. So I thought it was a little bit ridiculous on Doug Peterson's part because, like, I mean, I understand obviously not wanting to get Hurts injured, don't want to get Hurts hurt. Obviously Wentz isn't going to be your guy, but I just think that it was kind of a terrible move.
No,
but at the same time, Giants, they can be frustrated at what Peterson did, but they can't be frustrated at the fact that they missed playoffs, because if you're in any other division besides NFC East, you're missing playoffs every year.
Sure.
You can't go under 500 and make the playoffs. That shouldn't.
Not typically. So every once in a while it does happen, but it only happens for a division winner. It doesn't happen for wild card, which tells you that division's just ass that year.
Right.
My last thing I want to say about this, if Carson Wentz was the starter last night, let's say Wentz is the starter all year, and they decide to put Hurts in, the guy they just drafted, no problem with that. Right. You just drafted this guy. Sudfeld it's fucking Nate Sudfeld. He's not.
The thing that he mentioned too, he was like, Sudfeld's been with us for 3 years.
He's not good. He's not good. Like, I don't like that. But regardless,
you could have a left-handed Nick Foles come in and be better than Sudfeld.
Yes, you could have anything better than Sudfeld. But that's just kind of my thoughts on that.
Right.
I do want to talk about the NFL playoffs. We finally know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was waiting to like really, really do my research on it. We have 6 wild card games this weekend. One of them on Nickelodeon.
Nice.
Which when we get to that game, I will talk about how I feel about that because it is interesting. We talked about it a little bit before the cameras were on, but so we're going to talk about these games in order. The most intriguing game to me, maybe not the best, but the most intriguing, Colts at Bills. The Bills are letting fans in, which, I mean, see some tables get smashed in the parking lot, all that good stuff, of course. Of course.
Especially for clinching the 2 seed.
Of course. It's great. In a normal year, they don't even play in the wild card round as a 2 seed. However, they changed, the NFL changed it. Only one team gets a bye now, which, whatever.
Honestly, I kind of like it more, if I'm being honest.
I
think it adds a little bit more intensity into it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it was fine the old way too. So
I honestly don't care.
Right. Either
more
way,
football. More football at once, I guess. I don't know. Colts at Bills. So the Bills as a team they're not. Some teams are limited. They have a certain way they have to play to win. Washington has a way they have to play to win. The Steelers have a way they have to play to win. The Ravens have a way they have to play to win. The Bills really don't. They could kill you. I mean, they're not going to run the ball on you too much, but Allen can extend plays. He can throw the ball. They can defend. They can win a game when they need to score 40 or they need to score 24. The Colts, on the other hand, can't do that.
Right.
They're great on defense, not great on offense.
I'd say realistically, in a good game, I'd say the Colts have a top 10 defense. I think.
They're easily top. They're probably top 5. They're top 5.
They're like their core of having Darius Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't even know who their defensive backs are, but they have a good solid defense. They got Justin Houston, right?
Justin Houston, yeah.
Was there another one they just traded for from the 49ers?
Got Buckner. They got
DeForest Buckner. That's who it was.
Fantastic.
Yeah, who was an all-star or all-pro snub, basically. But
he didn't make. He wasn't.
He didn't make the Pro Bowl.
Oh wow.
He was a snub.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I'm definitely taking Bills in this game by far. I've been saying this for the past.
It's a trap game though.
Yeah, I've been saying this for the past couple weeks though, and I know that you've disagreed with me on it, but I think Josh Allen is just as talented as Patrick Mahomes. I think
he's second in terms of arm talent. I think it's Mahomes. It's Mahomes, Allen, and Wilson are in their own league.
Yeah, I'm saying
and Rodgers.
Honestly, I'd put Rodgers up
Rodgers
there too.
Is up there too, and then you got Kyler Murray right up. Kyler Murray and Justin Herbert are right there in terms of arm talent. Not saying that's the order of the best quarterbacks because it's not. But yes, I mean Josh Allen's to me.
I'd say
he passed Mahomes at MVP voting. If I were being honest, Mahomes.
I'd say it's between Rodgers and Allen. If I'm being honest,
I think it'll be Rodgers.
If you ask me, I'm saying that I think Mahomes has too many big pieces in his offense for him to be considered NFL MVP for this year because you look at Kelsey.
He wasn't great enough. The way he played most of the year up until the last few weeks, he was easily MVP. However, he struggled. It's crazy. At one point, it seemed like it was Russell Wilson's award to lose, but
because through week 6, it was his award to lose.
Yeah, he dominated. It was him and Kyler really.
After that first Arizona
loss, game, it was that Arizona game. He threw
Russell
that.
Wilson just fell apart.
Yeah, and I mean he's still great. He's still great.
Just put Future in the stadium.
Right. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna take the Bills here.
For sure.
24-17. My issue with the Colts, the thing the Bills have to do, don't give the Colts any points. They're not going to beat you with their offense, so don't let them. Don't let them. You know what I mean? Don't give them the ball with good field position. Don't keep everything in front of you, and you'll win. You can rely on Rivers making some mistakes.
Right.
The run game isn't great. But any given Sunday, anything can happen. I do think this is definitely a trap game.
I think this is a scary Bills team, though. I think
very scary.
They're definitely
they can win the Super Bowl.
They're gonna win. That's what I'm saying. I think that if any team is gonna beat Kansas City, that's not in the last 3 seconds of a game. I think it's gonna be the Bills. I think every other team, it's gonna come down to the wire.
Every team to me, but the Colts and Steelers could legit win the AFC, which is wild. I
don't think the Browns could win AFC. If I'm being honest, think about it this way.
They get hot at times.
They get hot, but think about the fact that they played the Steelers with no TJ Watt, no Casey Hayward, and no Big Ben.
Yeah, sure.
Don't get me wrong. Ben Roethlisberger obviously isn't a super good
but he's
quarterback.
not. I mean, Rudolph is horrible.
Yeah, but you got to think of the fact that they won by what? 2.
24-22. Yeah.
And they didn't have, the potential defensive player of the year playing.
The defensive player of the year.
Yeah, so I think Steelers, I think they come out of that game against the Browns because they have home field advantage over them anyways. So I think they end up beating the Browns. I think it could be a good game if Baker comes to play because a big thing about Baker is that he's often in his own head.
Yeah.
And so I think what they did a good job of.
They're hot right now too. I don't think he's a much better quarterback than he was to start the season. Nick Chubb is fantastic. Kareem Hunt.
That's a really good running back duo.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks when you have to run the ball 60 times a game, which
they don't have to.
They don't have to, but they have done a couple times this season. And
I'm fine with against certain teams. But like if they were playing Indy, that's what they would do.
Probably
because you want to. Well, not Indy. If you're playing the Chiefs, I mean, that's what you'd want to do. You want to keep the offense off the field. Rams Seahawks.
I'm picking Rams. I'm taking Rams. Either way,
in Seattle, 12th man's not going to be there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's no fans still. I think
comfort thing, I guess.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing about it is that Russell Wilson. I don't know what it's been. I don't know if it's the yips. I don't know what he's doing. But ever since that Arizona loss, like we just said, like he has fallen apart basically.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the game yesterday against the 49ers. Yeah. And, DK Metcalf, his still inability to catch a bullet pass from Russell Wilson. Like, don't get me wrong, I think DK is talented.
Metcalf is like the most flawed star I've ever seen.
That's what I'm saying, is that
weird.
He's a monster. He's a freak athlete, but he still just has so many flaws in, being a wide receiver when your main job is to catch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And, you have to catch bullet passes on slant routes and stuff.
Right.
And he had like 2 drops yesterday, something like that. But I'm taking the Rams. I think their defense wants it more, if I'm being honest. I think they're more intense on defense. Their offense, Wolford,
right.
regardless, I think he's more versatile than Goff is. I think Goff is a better passer. But
I mean, yeah, he can move.
If you watch that game, like Wolford still ran the ball. Like, I don't know. It was weird. Depending on who comes back, I think they'll still be fine offensively. Because if you watch that game, like Wolford had some good passes. He had some star moments. He only had 1 turnover, I'm pretty sure. Right. So
to me, these teams went 1-1 against each other regular season, and we kind of saw 2 very, very different teams. For one of the games, there's no Chris Carson. The one they lost 23-16. Russell Wilson kind of struggled in that game. Last time they played, he played pretty well. This Rams defense is very good. So if you're expecting Russell Wilson to throw for 400 yards like he does against some teams, don't. This
He's
Rams
throw
defense
for like
is great.
230.
I think 230-ish. I think he'll run the ball well. I think I'm gonna take the Rams here too. Just thinking about it, I think I'll take them 24-21. Tight game. I think they win. I think game-winning field goal. Game-winning field goal.
I'll say 24-17.
Okay.
I'll say they lose by a touchdown. But my big thing, their last game against the Seahawks too, is that Goff, broke his thumb or fractured his thumb, whatever it was. He hurt his thumb. So the man couldn't even throw a football. So they lost by 11 in that game. I don't even know who they had at quarterback. It wasn't Wolford. Because they didn't suit him up until against the Cardinals. I don't remember who they had at quarterback though. Whoever their
in what game?
The last Seahawks game when Goff got injured.
I'll tell you. It was just the last Seahawks game, just Goff, unless he didn't throw a pass.
I'm assuming they just limited his passing then.
He didn't throw a pass.
And on top of the fact that I think that game they had an injured Darrell Henderson and an injured Cam Akers. So
they didn't have Cam Akers in that game.
Yeah, they didn't have Cam Akers to start, and then Darrell Henderson got injured in the middle of it. So you're losing. You lost your starting running back, your second string running back, and your starting quarterback basically. So you're handing it off to Pee Wee football players at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I'm taking the Rams. I think they kind of pulled through. I think their defense is on fire, so I'm going to take them for sure.
All right. Bucks football team. It's in Washington, which is fucking.
Yeah, which is
they won the division. They won the division.
I know, it's
Bucks
just weird
didn't.
because it's
stupid, but
worst team in the playoffs basically, but
I'm
worst team record-wise. I don't worst team record-wise.
I don't want to say who I think is going to win this game
because you think it's going to be Washington.
Yes, I think I think Tampa still wins, but this is Washington, despite being a 7-win team, Washington with Alex Smith is a good team. First of all, that might be like the best front four in the NFL. Like
for the Washington.
Yeah, they have guys everywhere. Chase Young is fantastic. I mean, everybody on the front line is a first round pick, I believe. Everybody on their front four. I mean, you got Montez Sweat. You know, you got the white guy's name.
Chase Young.
No, the white guy.
Oh, Ryan Kerrigan.
Yeah, and on offense, they got Antonio Gibson and they got Cam Sims
Terry
and
McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin. Logan Thomas is a good tight end as well.
Logan Thomas is solid. So
this isn't a bad team.
I'll take the safe pick though. I'm gonna say the Bucs. You know, I think the Bucs have struggled this year, but the way I'm looking at it is the fact that Week 16, Falcons and Chiefs, they played each other. The Falcons held the Chiefs until the last 30 seconds of the game.
Yeah, that was such a Falcons game.
And then on top of the fact that they lost it on a
Young
missed
Ho
kick.
missed. Yeah, man.
So think about that. But the Bucs come in and they just completely explode against the Falcons, which granted Tom Brady has always owned the Falcons. But I'm saying that I think that I think the Bucs kind of are putting the pieces together finally. I think their defense is very good. I think they're starting to play a lot better.
They are.
They arguably have the best linebacker core between David White,
Devin White,
Devontae David,
and
there's one more in there.
There's one more.
So I think the Bucs come out for sure.
They got Griff.
They got who?
Barrett. I'll say Griff.
Yeah,
Barrett.
Shaquille Barrett.
Yeah, I was thinking Shaquille Griffin. Yeah, they got Shaquille Barrett coming off the edge.
And then on offense, I mean, Mike Evans.
They're stacked. Is Mike Evans going to be healthy, though? He got hurt yesterday.
I know he got hurt, but think about the fact that he's their one receiver, but they basically only use Mike Evans for the deep ball.
Yeah, that's who he is.
Which, if you look at Chris Godwin, like they're using Chris Godwin now, too. Like, that's what they were doing. So I think.
It looks like he'll play.
Yeah, well, you saw Bruce Arians said he was like,
there's no
Mike Evans at 80 is better than a lot of people at 100,
which for sure.
I completely agree with.
For sure.
But I'm saying that there's no way Mike Evans sits out if he's okay to play. There was no structural damage.
I think he's good. Yeah, that's.
So I think the Bucs end up beating Washington. You know, I give Washington props for building a good team. Mm-hmm. They're starting to be a better defense.
They gotta get that
offense.
Quarterback.
They gotta get a quarterback. That's their biggest thing.
Smith is good, but he's not the long-term guy. Haskins obviously wasn't. I gotta pick an upset.
Technically, the Rams were an upset, weren't they?
Yeah, I didn't look at the line for that. I'm gonna still go Tampa. I'm gonna go Tampa.
Are you switching to Tampa?
Yeah, I think Tampa late in the game. I think Brady late in the game.
Right.
Gets it. I say 31-20.
I'll say 28-17.
Okay. So we both picked them by 11. All right.
Yeah.
Ravens Titans. This is a rematch of last year. This is a weird game.
I think this is the best first round game, if I'm being honest.
What Titans team are we going to see on defense? Specifically on defense. On offense, we know
offense,
it's
I don't think you have to worry.
Very efficient. They're going to run the ball. Ryan Tannehill is not going to try to do too much. Very, very efficient offense. Defensively, we've seen Tennessee be really good to really bad. For one, their secondary, and they don't get pressure.
They have the least amount of sacks in the league, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you add that, they trade for
They just got Clowney.
They trade for Clowney. He's out though.
He's terrible now.
Well,
like he's been sucking all year.
Clowney's not ever going to be he's like Trey Flowers, where his sacks don't equal his production. Like he's able to disrupt the quarterback, but at the same time, you're gonna have to get pressure. You're gonna have to get pressure with Tannehill.
Right.
I think Derrick Henry's gonna run wild.
I don't know about that. I think Ravens are gonna have, if anyone in the first, up until the AFC Championship, if anyone has the defense to stop it, I think it's going to be the Ravens. I think they have a pretty powerful defense, and if you look at the last, 4 weeks, something like that, the Ravens average like 35 points a game. So I'm going to end up taking the Ravens again.
As of last night, Baltimore's a 4-point favorite.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So
I'm going to take the Ravens. I know that Tennessee's going to come out for blood, but
I think
they
Lamar wants
haven't
that
proven
revenge.
anything in the playoffs right now. I mean,
they did last year. They were really good.
Last year they played really well in the playoffs, but then
they should have beat KC. Like they were up big and they choked.
I think Lamar Jackson is coming for blood right now. I mean, like you even know, like I like Lamar, but I don't think.
Right. Like, we kind of feel similar.
Yeah. So
however, if he plays like he did that Browns game.
Yeah.
That was impressive. Yeah. He's moving along. I'm gonna take. Let's see. The over/under's 55 points. I'm gonna take that. That's too low. I'm worried about Tennessee's defense.
Yeah, I think there's too many.
I think J.K. Dobbins is the guy. I think we know now Dobbins is the guy in Baltimore.
Oh, I think honestly,
Baltimore's receivers scare me, and I think that's ultimately what's going to limit them in the playoffs because they're not good. Say what you want about Lamar's arm; doesn't have receivers. Give me Tennessee. I'm sorry. Give me Baltimore by 10.
I'll take Baltimore by 6.
Okay. Yep. All right. Again, I'm worried about Tennessee's defense, man. The offensively, I think they'll be okay. Bears Saints. This is a weird one. First of all,
this is the Nickelodeon game.
Yeah. All right. Before we get to the game, I do want to talk about the Nickelodeon thing. It's weird. They're playing. So the game's on CBS. It's also on Amazon Prime, which all games are now, but it's also on Nickelodeon. And I guess they're gonna do like these cool like effects with slime and shit. My first thought, and I think everyone's first thought based on comments I've seen, was somebody's gonna get a concussion and like Sandy and Patrick are gonna be dancing over them. Obviously there's gonna be a delay on the game.
Right.
And I'm sure they have something in place where if there's a serious injury and the guy's on the field for minutes, they just show some weird cartoon thing on the screen. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna watch it on Nickelodeon. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out.
To.
I have 2 monitors in my room. Might as well. It's only gonna be one game on at a time.
Right.
Might as well check it out. Who do you like here though?
I'm taking Saints.
I'm taking the Saints as well.
I think it's the obvious pick. I don't think regardless
of
this
Trubisky thing, he's not actually good. He's hot right now. He's not actually.
You want to say Taysom Hill isn't good, but then you got guys like Mitchell Trubisky still starting. Yeah, I'm still taking Taysom Hill over Mitchell Trubisky.
And I mean Breeze is back.
Well, I'm saying like in the case that he has to play.
Yeah, obviously.
I'm still taking a Taysom Hill throw over a Mitchell Trubisky throw.
Saints fans, you may believe the NFL hates you, and the evidence may be there. However, if this game was on Saturday, Kamara wouldn't have been able to play due to COVID rules. It's on Sunday. Kamara could play. If Kamara wasn't playing, I would pick the Bears.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Saints here. I think this Trubisky thing is over. I think I'm going to take the Saints 30-13.
Don't get me wrong.
I don't think Breeze is good. I think Breeze is done. He's washed.
Well, listen to this. I don't think Trubisky had a bad game against the Packers. I think he played pretty decent. But there was a stat they showed during the game that for throws 10 yards or less, he throws 77%. For throws more than 10 yards, he throws like 30%. So if they cover the check down throw or the little screen pass, the Bears have no chance at all. Like
it's very similar to Breeze.
Like it'll be ridiculous. I think Trubisky had 3 throws for more than 10 yards in this last game, and one of them was like a 45-yard bomb to Mooney, his name is Mooney, right? The wide receiver. The rookie for the Bears.
Darnell Mooney, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that there's too much to rely on for Mitch, and so I think the Saints definitely come out of this one. I think it's going to end up being pretty close.
You think it'll be closer?
I think I'm gonna say 24-18.
Okay. Slant Boy is back as well. Sort of.
Okay. Is this like his first time playing all season?
Damn near. He's played a little bit, but
he played the first 2 weeks?
Listen, Michael Thomas gets a lot of hate. I hate him because where he went to college, but
yeah,
dude could play. He's a really good tight end. Basically, that's what he is as a player.
He's a very skinny, fast, athletic tight end.
But here's the thing: he's not very fast. Right? He's not fast for a receiver.
Compared to a tight end, though.
No, I know he's not fast for a receiver, but he knows that's fine. He doesn't try to do things he can't do, and what he does, he's amazing at.
Right.
He's the best short route runner probably ever. Like the records how great he was last year without having, and he does a lot of stuff after the catch too.
I'll give him props. Tackles. That's what I was saying. I'll give him props for the fact that he went like 160 passes straight without a drop or something like that, 170. It was something ridiculous. Like he went like a whole season without a drop, and regardless of the fact on if he runs long routes, short routes, whatever. Like, that's still impressive because, back to what I was saying earlier, you got guys like DK Metcalf who can't catch a 4-yard slant. Right. So, regardless of him being primarily like a slant runner, like he still does a lot of stuff. He still had 10-plus receiving touchdowns last year.
Oh, he led the league in receiving touchdowns. Right. He broke the all-time catch record. He's a fantastic player.
So, I mean, by no means do I think he's the best receiver in the league, but I definitely think he's very good at what he does and how the Saints use him.
Last game, Steelers-Browns. This is going to be a great game. when they play this year, obviously they played last week. However, it was a different Steelers team, so it's different. Cleveland was able to squeak by. The first time they played, Pittsburgh won by 31, 38-7. I think we're gonna see somewhere in between.
That's with Odell playing though, right?
Yeah, Odell played.
Okay.
Nick Chubb did not though.
Okay.
Looking at it, who do you like in this game? Because this is one I'm not gonna. The next few days, my opinion is gonna change so much.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna flip back and forth, but for now, for the show, I'm still gonna say Steelers. You look at that game last night. They had for the Browns, they had like all of their players playing because they needed that win to clinch.
Mm-hmm.
And so you look at the Steelers side of it, they didn't, like I said earlier, no Casey Hayward, no TJ Watt, no Ben Roethlisberger.
Right.
And, if you think Ben is bad, the gap between Ben and Mason Rudolph is like, 10,000 yards of.
I mean, that defense is still really good. Like
the Pittsburgh one?
Yeah, they still have.
Well, obviously they're still good, but like all year they've had holes, and to take out the defensive player of the year,
right,
in TJ Watt,
yeah, Minka. I'm saying though, last night Tuitt still played, Minka still played,
right,
Cam Sutton still played,
but like up front though, you can't tell me that not having Hayward and Watt,
of course, that's two
completely different game changers right there. Right.
Shout out to real quick though, I do want to shout out Chris Wormley. He got a sack. Go Blue. How many? I mean, without Watt and Hayward, they still got 4 sacks,
which I'll give them. I think if you
that's pretty good.
I think if you put
that defense
Watt,
is loaded,
right?
But the offense scares me.
I think their offense is tricky, but I think Deontay Johnson's turned it around. I think James Washington's a solid receiver. His hands are massive.
James Washington, he's a jump ball guy.
He's
a jump ball guy. Deontay Johnson turned around. Juju's still pretty good. Chase, of course. I'm gonna go Browns 20-14 in an ugly game. In a really ugly game.
I think it's going to be a low scoring but close game. I'm going to say 20-17 Pittsburgh.
Okay. All right. Well, that concludes our NFL playoff bracket. Last thing I want to talk about before we end this. Last night, Steph Curry, 62.
Yeah, that was
and I sent a text to the group chat. He had like 50. And I'm like, James Harden does this every week and it's not this big a deal. And then he went on and put 62 up. I'm like, all right. And Steph 62 and a Harden 62 are different. Like watching Harden score 62, it's still impressive to watch, but it's not. Watching Steph score, I don't know if you saw like the last 2 threes he hit. They were insane. Like he's moving left, got a guy behind him. He like kicks out like one hand. He's insane. The Warriors are bad. Oubre's been awful. He's been like the worst player in the NBA. Wiggins. He's been better on defense. He's been better, but he's still Andrew Wiggins. They have a rookie center, which I mean to be a rookie.
He's been impressive so far. I'll give James Wiseman props. Yeah, but I think he's been one of the.
That's the hardest position just for on defense, but offensively he's been great.
I think productively, I think he's been a top 3 rookie. Like he's been
good.
Good defensively.
Halliburton's been good.
He's been good defensively.
He's been better than we thought defensively. He
I think LaMelo has shown some flashes of it. But I think the big reason why it's 62 for Steph, A, because it was a career high, but B is because all these things going around about how Steph has no help, Steph has no this, is Steph Curry washed, like stuff like that. Like that was all over Twitter for the last like day.
There's this
because they lost to a fully healthy Portland Trailblazers team, which like regardless of Blazers being healthy, like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson still top 5 backcourt duo, obviously. So without him, Steph kind of crumbles when he has people like, I don't know, Nico Manian's level playing in the backcourt.
There's a narrative around about like, oh, Steph can't carry a team like LeBron can. Like, no shit. Nobody ever can carry. Like,
well, look at the fact that like LeBron is made in a factory, man. Like he's big. It's harder for a guard to carry a team. 6'9", like 6'9", 6'8", something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's 240 pounds.
He runs. I mean, maybe not anymore, but his peak he ran like a 4 or 5 40 probably.
Right. He could probably take like 5 to 8 steps depending on how far he has to go across the court to get to the other basket.
Right. He's insane. I do the narrative. So that narrative's dumb. There's another narrative like if you put Curry on the team, Westbrook won Westbrook won MVP with, or the team 2015 the Rockets Harden had. One, if you give Steph a younger Steph that hasn't dealt with the injuries on either one of those teams. And the thing about those teams that people forget, they look at the guys around them. Those teams were great. They were both top 10 defenses for one. Right. One of my favorite YouTubers was talking about this last night. So, you give Steph a top 10 defense. Yeah, I mean, he would kill to have a top 10 defense right now. They can't stop anybody. They can't score right now.
I think that's their biggest flaw outside of
the lack of shooting.
Kelly Oubre shooting 2%.
Like 2 for 30 from 3 or something.
I don't think he's made a second one, unless he made one in the game last night.
He made one against the Pistons.
That was the only one I've seen him make, though, is that I think right now he was shooting 4% from the field because he was shooting like 1 for 38 from three-pointer. He keeps chucking it up.
I love Kelly Oubre, though.
I think obviously he has talent. He's just going through something.
I ain't talking about talent, nigga. Oh. You know what I'm talking about. Everybody has love for Kelly Oubre, of course.
Yeah.
I think I'll be honest. I think Killian Hayes is coming for his title. But he is right now this season. He is
look for 3-pointer, not field goal, because field goal inside.
No. Of course. Golden State Warriors. That's per game. How do I see whole season? Well, he's shooting a outstanding 0.67 or 0.067% from 3.
0.067 per game.
He's shooting 6% from 3.
Okay, so he must have made at least one more.
He's 0.3. Yeah, I'm
think of the fact that Ben Simmons is shooting better than him from 3.
Scary shit.
Ben Simmons is probably what, like, I don't know, 2 for 8, 2 for 9, something like that. Yeah. Probably could not have taken that many shots, but
why are these stats? It has like all the stats. These filters are too advanced. Hold on, I'm trying to find his exact amount. Point is, he's ass. Is what I'm getting at. He's bad.
Yeah. Defense is lacking for sure, though. I mean, they have a lot of athletic players on the Warriors, which is nice.
They're not. This roster's not good.
No, it's not by any means.
Getting Draymond back is cool, but Draymond's not peak Draymond anymore.
No, he has washed Draymond, if you're asking me.
Yeah, he's struggled with weight, and I think that's been his biggest flaw as a player. Regardless, that's just kind of where we're at with the Warriors. That's really. I mean, I think we covered everything. I really, really wanted to cover.
Yeah. Definitely excited for these NFL games, though. I'll say that.
Yeah, I am
excited
too.
for the playoffs finally.
Yeah.
It's gonna be sad, not being able to watch football anymore because I feel like it just started. But.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, being at home so much more, just now than normal. Like it really. Right. I mean, I was at home for school, for crying out loud. Like it was really how I spent my entire weekend,
right?
Especially for college. Not having that for college sucks, but in an NFL, this is gonna feel like college because it's Saturday and Sunday. It feels like a bowl weekend,
right?
I really enjoyed the bowl games. Shout out Oklahoma. I said they should have been in the playoffs, and I'm gonna stand by that.
I think A&M should have been in over Notre Dame.
No. Yeah. After how bad Notre Dame just played against UNC, no. They beat UNC. UNC didn't have.
You mean A&M?
No, I'm saying A&M beat UNC.
Yeah.
They didn't have. UNC didn't have one of the 5 best receivers in the country, the top 3 running back in the country, and another running back who's probably top 10.
You mean for against the A&M game?
Yeah, I guess UNC didn't have that against them. You saw when Notre Dame played them, they had those guys and they still couldn't score. I'm not a believer in A&M. I don't really think Oklahoma should have been in the playoffs based on credentials, but they played great. Regardless, thank you for being on, bro.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
This is longer than I expected, but it was a good show. Way to start this. Follow the Instagram Between the Greene. Follow the Shameless Plug Instagram. I will still post audio podcasts. I'm going to get back to that. However, I'm going to just do like a weekly little recap, talk about the important stuff. It won't normally be talk about – it'll be a lot more like theories and like hypothetical stuff on video. That's where I'm going to get. Regardless, thank you for being here, bro. I'll give you one more applause from the audience that doesn't exist. Regardless, you guys have a wonderful week, and